Hi, I'm Walt Sims, and today we're on station at the Roxborough facility. Behind me, employees are demonstrating an emergency response. As part of our duties within EHS, each one of us may be called upon to support such a response. Key to our ability to command and control our efforts is communication. Normally, we would utilize cell phones in a field application, but on station, you might be utilizing handheld radios. In addition to the cell phone, select individuals within EH&S have been issued special GETS cards, which are Government Emergency Telecommunications cards, which gives calls being placed during high usage periods, such as a national event. It gives those calls priority as part of a national response. In extreme cases, such as hurricanes, where the infrastructure has been damaged and cellular service isn't available to us, we have the ability to deploy satellite communications independent of the local infrastructure. We'll go through the use and applications of each of these in greater detail in the remainder of this video. The first item that we want to talk about is the Government Emergency Telecommunications System card. This is a card that operates very similar to a traditional calling card, only in it identifies the placer of the call as a member of an emergency response organization and gives their call priority over calls being placed by civilians. The next item I want to talk about for an emergency condition is your normal personal use cell phone. Once again, in times of distress or high traffic flow within the network, your cell phone can be utilized to perform these communications. In an event where the system is locked up because of voice communication, you can oftentimes pass a text message because it uses less bandwidth to make your message heard. Duke Energy also utilizes a network of two-way radio communications, both permanently mounted radios within our vehicles and handheld units. Now, all radios fall into one of two classifications, either an encrypted or non-encrypted device. A non-encrypted device means that any member of the public can use a standard scanner or another like radio to monitor your communications. We have a small supply of handheld radios that are unencrypted that can be utilized either for an event response, an audit, or even community works projects. But once again, these radios are labeled that they are open frequency and not to transmit sensitive information across the bandwidth. The final device that we want to talk about is a handheld satellite phone. These phones were identified as a device that we needed to evaluate to support our ability to respond during an emergency. This was first identified in an emergency preparedness exercise in North Carolina in 2016. Hurricane Matthew struck two service areas, Florida and North Carolina, and both of these regions had specific areas that lost cellular communication in which these devices would have been important tool in maintaining our communication within the organization. We will discuss the deployment and utilization of these phones in greater detail. Now we're going to do a unboxing of the Iridium Model 9555 satellite phone. This is a handheld communication device. When you open the box up, this is how it will appear to you. Again, the yellow dot tells us the software configuration that's been loaded into the phone for your use. Power button is located on top of the phone, and it dials much like a home cordless phone. You dial your numbers, hit the send button, and it'll place the call. Prior to use of the phone, it must be activated. Each phone incorporates a SIM card, which is a subscriber identity module. This provides all of the unique characteristics for an individual phone that will include billing information and the actual satellite and serial numbers of the communication device. When the card has been installed into your device, it will be underneath of the battery inside the phone. This is the installed location. Once the card has been installed, The battery is simply placed back in the device and you push down until it clicks. At that point, you would be able to go ahead and utilize the phone. Each of the phones that have been pre-staged within our service areas have the SIM card installed in the device, so you will not have to do an installation initially, but each unit is equipped with a second SIM card that will be used to stage the phone for the next deployment. To activate the phone for use, again, we would go back to the power button. You push the button down and the screen will energize, at which point it will give you battery strength and signal strength to the satellite constellation. To prepare the phone for communications, you would take the antenna, pull it directly out of the phone, rotate the ball joint into a 45-degree angle. This places the antenna directly up in the sky as you hold the phone for normal voice communications. To place your call, you would dial using the touchpad your normal number that you wish to contact, push the send button, and the phone will go ahead and make contact to cellular or landline locations based on your needs. When choosing a location to activate your satellite phone, you want to be aware of any engineered structures nearby, such as tall metal objects, buildings, or natural foliage, all of which can affect the ability of the phone to communicate with the satellites overhead. To help ensure optimum performance of the satellite phone, choose a broadcast location that gives you an uninterrupted line of sight between your location and the horizon. That will give the phone the best opportunity to connect with the overhead satellites. Once you remove the phone from your box, there is an assortment of phone-specific accessories, which includes carrying cases, multiple chargers for both domestic and international power sources. There's an external antenna that can be plugged into the device for use inside of a motor vehicle. However, that requires a bracket adapter which clicks onto the back of the phone, and you install the cable onto the phone device to allow you to operate the phone from inside of a motor vehicle. In addition to that, you have a spare battery. Charge times for the batteries vary between 6 to 8 hours and will provide you up to 30 hours of standby time, and then depending on the volume of usage, outgoing calls as to how long the service life will be for an individual battery. That's why each unit is supplied with 2 batteries. Within the kit, you have the ability to utilize DC power from an outlet inside of a vehicle or standard 110 here in the United States. Activation is performed pre-event by the management of the team or an individual. Instructions are included with each packaging for contacting our vendor for activation of the individual phone. Upon conclusion of an emergency, we will go ahead and deactivate the phone and insert the replacement SIM card, recharge the batteries, and place the unit back in storage per instructions from your local supervisor.